So weird. That's better. Is that better? Did you get my big head in your screen okay? Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Flannel Family Forum, as we like to call it, which is essentially our vlog where we just chat with you, let you know what's going on with the week. Oh, I should turn it off. It's a notification for me telling me I'm on. And as always, we start with our tea. So this evening, we are having a lemon echinacea. It's called a throat cure. I don't know. I don't have anything wrong with my throat. It's just a very delicious tea. It's one of my favorites. I like lemon, and I like echinacea. So, now that we have the... Hey, Sean, how are you? Sean says, hey, howdy, brother. Jeremy says, shouldn't you be in bed by now? Don't I look like I'm in bed? Look at this. If this was like 1996, man, this is some bedhead going on right here. Bobert, how are you? Bobert says, how's it going? This is some... I need a haircut's what I need. I need a lot of things. But, let's talk. So we missed our live stream last week. I worked Saturday, and Sean says feeling rough. Got pretty sick over the last couple days ago, but he's on the mend. The Lord is merciful. Amen. Indeed, He is. I'm glad you're on the mend, my brother. Have some tea. It's better for you. Jeremy says the hair floof is excelling in awesomeness. I was gonna get a haircut today, and then I didn't. And that's happened for like 3 weeks now. All these great plans. So yes, I apologize for missing last week. That's the first live stream I think we've missed since we started doing this. And I worked Saturday and Monday. Yes, my dear. I see you lurking.
Just looking. You're fine.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. My wife said I was fine. What? Right here. Did you need it?
I was gonna do plant ID.
Okay.
A weird. No, but
No, go ahead.
it's fine.
Go ahead. We'll talk about it later.
Okay. I'll get
Then
it
just
back.
bring it back. Yeah. She just took my chat device, so I'll try and keep track with your chats as we go. So I worked Saturday and I worked Monday, and Sunday was church. And by the time we got home and got things kind of taken care of, it just wasn't a good weekend to do a live stream. So we did not. But yes, this last weekend we harvested 2 full-grown hogs Friday and Saturday with 2 families and 2 young fellas, military guys, good guys that came out, and we had basically a weekend-long kind of workshop. I've told you guys before, I went to a workshop by a guy named Paul Bolden, and I paid to go be a part of one, learn how to do it. And then a few months ago, I guess it was not a few months ago, even last month, we did 1 pig ourselves here, and we did obviously the videos of that. It was the first one we'd ever done. So I was much more comfortable this time. We implemented a couple changes that I'd like to talk to you guys about tonight. So when we dispatched our first pig, yeah, Jeremy says better results with the dispatching this time. Much better results. So, hey Carolyn, how are you? Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. I hope it's not too late for everybody. I'll try and be interesting enough to keep you all awake for 20 or 30 minutes. Paul might have discussed when I went the grain and powder charge of the 22. I don't remember him discussing it, but I also was kind of a gopher for him for a couple different points. So where he was discussing things, we were on several acres doing this pig with the guy I went to the conference with, and so there were parts where I did not hear, so he may have covered it. But we used a Winchester like varmint round the first time, 40 grain, which is the weight of the bullet, and then it was 1200 feet per second. And I did some research, and that gives you a muzzle velocity foot-pound thing of like 125 or 128. Now, I know this is a bunch of stats and numbers, but this is actually really, really important if you're going to dispatch your own pig. After researching the most powerful 22 round that I could find, I found one made by CCI, and it is a 32 grain, which means it weighs a little less, but it comes out at 1650 feet per second. And if we want to get really technical with the laws of thermodynamics and such, it's mass times velocity squared. So it's better to get hit by something really, really big moving really, really slow than something really, really small or light moving really, really fast. So we traded some weight, but we got way more velocity, which gave us a muzzle force of 198 foot-pounds at like 6 inches from the muzzle. All that to say that when that round hit the pig's forehead, the pig dropped like a stone. It was immediate. So that was one much better knockdown power. Yes, Jeremy, I think it was the CCI Stinger. Actually, I have some. Actually, I might have some in the closet right here. Hold on. I do. Haha. So that's the CCI Stinger.
Maximum stopping power.
That's it. And I don't even remember. I ordered them from the internet somewhere that had them. I think they were $10 for 50. So I ordered 5 packs, I think. Got a nice. They don't look a whole lot different than a regular 22. They're silver. And then on the back, I think it just says the C. But anyways, we went out to do the first pig, and of course, as you guys know, last time we did a pig, it's not the quickest of deaths. So this time, not only did we use a more powerful round, but we used a longer stick knife. The stick knife I used last time was about 6.5 to 7 inches long. The knife we used this time was 9 inches long. So each time we shot, pig dropped, and each time we stuck, it was instant blood gush, tons of blood. Not to be graphic, just that's how you know you're in the right place. So significantly less traumatic for all parties involved. We started, I think we dropped the first pig. We started with a safety briefing, and then we dropped the first pig at around, I think it was about 9:45, something like that. And we went through 2, dispatched, scalded, scraped, eviscerated, halved, and put in the freezer. I think we finished our last one about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 o'clock, something like that. So it was good. It was good. The new scalding tank worked out really, really well. We got an old oil container. I think they're 320 or 330 gallons. That you normally see them on like the bracing sitting on the next to people's houses that have oil heat. So we got one of those, and I actually cut the legs down. I have a video of this that will be coming out in case you're interested in building a pig scalding tank. I found them on Craigslist and on Facebook Marketplace for like $50 a piece if you come get them. So we just used a Sawzall with a metal blade, cut the top off. Stay put here. And the reason I lowered it was because, one, my tractor bucket only gets so high, so when you're hanging the pig and you have to like drape them into the water ever so gently, unless you have a very long crane boom thing, it's the best way to go. So, oh, thank you, Carolyn. Yeah, Sean says it's shocking the amount of usable junk that people are willing to get rid of. That's very sweet, Carolyn. Thank you. We'll talk about the new machine potential too here in a bit. God, we have so much to cover. 2 weeks. But the new scalding tank worked really, really well. About 145 degrees and about 5 minutes. Thank you, my lovely lovely assistant. Who's not getting anywhere near the camera today. That's one of the anniversaries with that lovely assistant. We'll get to that too. I think it took us roughly an hour and a half to get the water temperature from about 75 degrees up to about 150. The first one we actually did too hot. It was about 160 and ended up cooking some of the hair in. So really about 140 to 145 degrees is ideal for about 5 minutes. So, but yeah, we didn't have any blowouts or anything with bowels and intestines and such. And Saturday morning we got up and got busy with the actual butchering process. We had 5 different stations set up for just the butchering, and we made fairly short work of it. I think it took us about 6 hours to butcher 2 pigs, and we did approximately 440 pounds worth of meat. It's a lot. And then most of the wives were inside with the meat grinder and the vacuum sealers, just cranking it out. Oh, excuse me. So we would get these buckets, bring them into the house after we had cuts and sausage and stuff, and they would go right to grinding and sealing and vacuuming and all kinds of stuff. So it was a great weekend. So 3 anniversaries this week, and it didn't dawn on me that all 3 were this week until this weekend. So this weekend was me and Mrs. Flannel's 18th wedding anniversary. So that was exciting. We had a wonderful time. Sean asked if we had a PayPal. I want to send a few bucks toward your machine fund, but I don't want to support Google any more than necessary. I believe it's on our About page. If you look at our channel and go to the About page, I think we have the PayPal listed there. I'm not sure. Let me look while I talk to you. That's fun, right? I can do these 2 things at once. So yeah, just don't forget the S. So if you go to our description of our page, thank you, Carolyn. Carolyn says happy anniversary. Yay! If you go to the Flannel Farms homepage like that, hello, and you click on that, boop. Nope, not that. Unsubscribe. Terrible. The little arrow button that takes you to all the details. Boop. Down there at the bottom is our PayPal. And it's the Flannel Guys. There's still an S. 54 at gmail.com. Take you back to our program already in progress. So, yeah, 18 years with my lovely wife. It's been a great journey, great adventure. Looking forward to at least 2 more 18 years with the same lady. But yeah, quite the adventure. We've lived in 3 different states. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different addresses. We move a lot. Jeez. A couple different careers, a couple different economic crashes, a couple of 3 kiddos. It's amazing. Yeah, Sean says not to mention with PayPal you're actually getting all of your money rather than Google taking its greedy cut like a glorified tax collector. The thing about Google, though, we will say, is it provides the platform to allow us to get paid for just views. So I don't have any other way of getting paid by views except for Google currently. I know there are some other streaming services, but you swim where the fish are, I guess is the saying. Is it a saying? Anyhow, so that's the big anniversary. That's the huge anniversary. It's the wedding anniversary. I also realized that this was the week that we started the Flannel Guys LLC for stump grinding. So this is the week we started the stump grinding business, which is why I threw a picture of the stump grinder up there. And so that was the first time we've ever actually started a small business as opposed to just kind of running around doing stuff. And May 18th, I believe, is the very first video that we ever uploaded to YouTube on purpose for the channel. And if you go back and watch, I think it's the intro to Flannel Guys or something, and I'm really stiff and wooden and don't know how to talk to the camera or anything. It's very amusing now after 1 year to look back at how chunky it was. So, Sean says, food's here, so I'll have to dip. I'll be praying about something though. Lord willing, me and Dad are going to Tennessee to look at some property. Pray it goes well. Hey, that's awesome, man. You've got it. Absolutely. Bobert asks if there's any more interviews in the works. There aren't currently. I've reached out to some people. I haven't received. Don't do that. Don't do that, kid. Just trying to knock on my camera. I haven't received any word back, so I need to get on that. I've actually had to. That was about a month ago. I reached out to people. I haven't reached out to anybody here recently, but that was because we had kind of the pig butchering going on, and we had so much prep work to do to get ready for that I had to kind of put that on hold. We've also had several stump grinding jobs that have come up that we've been doing. I have a massive one to finish down in Virginia Beach. It's super big. The biggest job we've done actually, and we've already been there 1 day, so I'm going to go back down and finish it up. But we had to add new teeth to our machine. Speaking of anniversaries, and the machine had about 47 hours on it, so we went to go put new teeth on it. We ordered the teeth for the machine, and they sent us not the wrong size per se, but I learned that the Dosco that we ordered, that was custom ordered by somebody and then not ever picked up, is actually one of the European versions. And the European versions have the Series 500 teeth. The American version, Merca, has the Series 700 teeth, which are significantly bigger. So when we called Dosco and said, hey, we have a 691 20E, we need teeth, they said, great. And they sent us out 700 series, which don't even fit on the thing that hold the teeth, which are called pockets. So we had to get new pockets. And of course, those things are hey, Carolyn says tomorrow's my 23rd wedding anniversary. Congratulations, Carolyn. That's wonderful. So yeah, I had to go over to my buddies. I was gonna film the changing of the teeth and the pockets and stuff, but I did not have equipment heavy duty enough to do it, so I went over to my farmer friend. He's been upgraded. I told him farmer friend's house, and he helped me with his much larger equipment than I have. So we were able to get the new pockets on, the new teeth on, and I ground a couple stumps for him as a thank you. And then Wednesday we're going down. These are some massive stumps. I mean, they're 100, 120 inches across. They're huge, and there's like 4 of them. So, but these new teeth should make short work of it. So that was good. Our baby chicks are doing pretty good. We have 5 or 6 left. The mama kind of killed a couple on accident, like sitting on them and stuff. Hey, Marilyn, you're back. Welcome. But we were able to move 2 broody hens from our egg-laying flock out into one of our chicken tractors with eggs from our egg-laying group. So they're going to be over there. And they've been broody for about 2 weeks now. So RGB, good evening. She says, hello, Brian. I've been praying for you, RGB, a lot the past few weeks. You know why. So they're doing well. We canned a few of the eggs, and they are developing. They're growing. Turkeys are getting big. We're down to 5 turkeys. Another one died. Them turkeys, I tell you, they just fall over dead. That's it. It's ridiculous. But so once we get these, we have 1 more pig we're doing next weekend, and this one is for some other people as well. And this is a big pig. Probably the biggest one so far. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, things are moving right along. We got grass seed into the kids' play area. It's come up. We've seeded the front field, so as you guys know, with our cows, we want to do rotational grazing, and what we have out right there, what we right there have out now, what we have out there right now is a winter wheat and a spring winter pea and spring oat. And so they have heads on them. They're about ready, probably another month, and they'll be done, dried up, and ready to go. So what we're going to do actually is once they dry and the seed head is solid, excuse me, we're going to mow it and let those seeds fall, and hopefully it will reseed itself. But we also planted last week a beef pasture mix. So it has orchard grass, it has Timothy hay, it has yellow clover, red clover. I think it has some alfalfa, like a whole bunch of really good stuff. So we chucked that in last week in between the spaces because that winter wheat and winter peas and spring oats had plenty of space in between it. So it is now sprouting. Oh, man, excuse me, guys. I'm really sorry. It's been a busy week. Weeks, busy year. So that stuff's already sprouting. So in a month, it should be right about 2-3 inches tall. So we're gonna go through and mow and get rid of all of the winter stuff. Let it fall. Let it be green manure, and then let that other warm season grasses grow and take care of that. So that's good. Then we'll have probably in about a month we'll have the 47 chickens to harvest, and then probably a month after that we'll have the turkeys to harvest. And by that point we'll be looking at trying to get more pigs again. Probably it's a never-ending cycle, I tell you. But it is immensely satisfying to eat your own food. Holy cow, guys! I need more tea. It is very satisfying to eat your own food, and we have been eating a lot of pork lately. A lot of pork. Oh, it's good tea. Good tea this evening. So, let's talk about this dozer for a minute. It's an International 100C. I have not looked up a whole bunch of specs on it, like horsepower and things. But my farmer friend, who you saw his dozer in the trailer video that we did with the sand, it's essentially the model size smaller than that. So it is significantly more powerful than our current tractor Hank. The bucket is like 2.5 times the size of the bucket on Hank. And of course it has tracks, which means it will do better pushing down trees than Hank. Hank gets it done, but it is very hard on that tractor, and it's a lot of work with that tractor. Now, I did not put this in the post, but it was a little old widow lady who called my farmer friend and asked him to come appraise equipment she had in her barn from her husband's passing. So I don't think it's run in about 5 years, but my farmer friend is going to basically put it back together to make sure it works. So there's some time. We have some time. This is not a like, oh, I found it on Craigslist and we have to buy it tomorrow. It's not even on Craigslist. It's not on the market. So there's time to put some resources together. I have a video coming up, well, way out, but in like 4 months about the actual cost of our first year here. And we're going to break down how much it's actually cost us to do various things. Not really including the price of the land, because that's kind of an arbitrary thing. And how much food we have produced at what cost. Now, of course, you don't have the same costs year to year. We bought tractors, a well, a truck, and things to do things, haulers, and there's been a lot that has gone into this place. There are cheaper ways to do it, of course. There's always cheaper ways to do things, but you end up trading time for money. So we have that planned. Once we hit the 1 year mark here, that we're going to put out that video on how much it costs. But we have spent a substantial amount getting established, which is normal when you essentially start, this is basically a business, trying to make our own food. So, but yes, our discretionary funds, if you will, have essentially run out for farm type equipment until we're able to restock. Now, we do have a rental property that we've talked about before in the past. I've done videos on getting it ready. What I haven't mentioned to you guys is that our tenant is currently not paying rent. They're in one of those government assistant program things where you apply for your rent and then eventually maybe the government gives it to you, maybe they don't. But the current rules state that you're not allowed to evict someone who's in that process. So we have had 3 or 4 months with no rent from them. So we've had to pick up that slack, and then, as I'm sure all of you know, things have gotten substantially more expensive in the past year, including gas. And our gas bill last month, I think, was right around $1,000 just for, and when I say gas, I mean like gasoline diesel, not gas like natural or propane. So we have we have a lot of money going out. Jeremy says sold. So that's one of the reasons why we're reaching out to crowdfunding, as it were. Marilyn asked if we have a Patreon. We don't have a Patreon, not yet. I don't know if we ever will. There's ways, like you could do YouTube subscriptions and things like that, but to be perfectly honest, I don't write books or make NFTs or art or any of those things, so I don't even have anything that makes sense to have behind a paywall to me. So I'm hoping that Carolyn, well, I'll talk about that in a second. I'm hoping that as we grow, we've added 350 subscribers this month. My brother gave us a couple shout outs and we have a whole bunch of new people. So yeah, Jeremy says let's start making NFTs. It's a Flannel Farm NFT, it's free. I mean, it's 50 cents. So we are starting to sell some products from the farm, so it's starting to recoup some of that stuff. But I'm really hoping that as the channel grows, just the views will be enough. But Marilyn says I don't understand what that is. Play T on how it works. The NFTs or the YouTube subscription thing. Anyways, NFTs are non-fungible tokens, I think they're called. It's basically, yeah, digital something, and like you buy the original digital thing. I don't think they make any sense at all, but people have spent lots of money for them, so whatever. I mean, there's some guy in Indonesia who starts selling like a picture of his face and he made like $1 million. But Flannel Farms NFTs would be really funny. You're right, pictures of cows and stuff. So yes, there's a whole big explanation into what NFTs are, but essentially it's a digital copyrighted type image thing. But yeah, like my brother has a subscription service to his oh, Marilyn says she didn't know how Patreon works. So from what I understand with Patreon, and I haven't used it, I don't have anybody on subscription with Patreon, is it's a paywall type thing where like you post videos and people basically subscribe to your channel via a subscription fee. So if you pay $4.99, then you get access to the videos on Patreon, I believe. But YouTube also has a subscription service where you could subscribe with a payment to my channel and you get special things. But I have to provide the special things. And that's why I haven't done it, because, you know, my brother, for example, if you subscribe to if you pay his subscription service, you get a digital copy of a couple of his books. He has like albums that he's made, music albums. There's special artwork for his channel that you can use. There's all kinds of cool little things that he has made that you can do. I'm not an artsy person, so that's just not in my wheelhouse. I'm a worker bee. So Jeremy says that the shorts gained a lot of traction. They've done well, better than any of our other videos. So, and we seem to be picking up a subscriber here and there from them. So that's why I've kind of been pumping them out more. They're easy to make, easy to do, and I can do them at home in between the days that I'm at work when I'm editing the full-length videos for you guys. So um, I hope you like the shorts. I think it kind of keeps you up to date on what's going on really quickly. So we spent a lot of time in the garden today also. We put in, so the power company came by and they did all the trimming around here as they are wont to do every so many years, and they come by. And Carolyn says your brother gets $5 a month for his YouTube subscription and she likes it. Cool. And Bobert says my channel is mostly all shorts and I like them. Wonderful. Yeah, I mean, if you could get 100 people, to pay $5 for your channel, then it's $500. Of course, YouTube takes its cut, but you have to have something to provide. So I currently prefer just coming to you guys when there's something that we have that, yeah, that is per person. Yep. That we are interested in obtaining specifically, as opposed to just subscribing or just sending money, which I'm okay with. If people want to send money, I'm not going to say no. But I like having a specific reason, like the dozer. So we're going to increase our capabilities, and it provides more content because, I mean, we have done things with Hank that have provided videos that we wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. So you actually get something back out of it as well. It's not just a one-way street. And many hands make light work. So I'll keep you posted on the dozer and how it's going, and how we're going to attempt to sell some of our other equipment that we have either purchased or were given or got in group things that either have not proved to be useful, or that I think it would be more useful to have the dozer as opposed to those other pieces of equipment. And we'll go from there. Yes, me and Mrs. Flannel spent, I don't know, probably 7 hours in the garden, 6 hours in the garden. And we got a whole bunch of it weeded. I started to film some stuff, and then we got so busy that I stopped filming. So coming up, hopefully on Wednesday, I'm going to film a garden tour, our spring garden tour. And Marilyn says she likes that because we're more involved. I like it too, because you can kind of pick and choose what you think would be interesting to give to. So obviously I try not to come to you guys every week or every month and be like, hey, we need more money again. Because it's a crazy time right now, and inflation and things being what they are, it's disposable income's becoming more and more rare. So we do certainly appreciate every gift and every donation. And even, like I've told you before, the time that you invest in the channel has meant the world to us, and it's very encouraging to us to have the comments, to hang out with you guys typically once a week, and to have this interaction. It's very rewarding in its own right. But we caught the power company. They subcontract out the people that trim all the trees around their lines. And the power line actually comes down our property quite a ways. So they were on our property trimming up a few trees. And I said, hey, what are you going to do with all your wood chips? And they said, well, we don't, we take them over to the dump basically. And I said, well, you dump them here? And they said, yes. So if you saw that goofy short I did today about what's your favorite kind of chip, they dumped 4 full massive trucks full of wood chips, which is actually where I think my son got his poison ivy, because they chop up everything they cut around those power lines. So it's not just mulch, it's leaves, it's twigs, it's poison ivy. So we spread it, but you know what I know it doesn't have in it is any Grazon or herbicide or any of those things. So it's just pure wood chopped up, pure trees, bushes, whatever. So we spent a whole bunch of hours deep mulching all the walkways and edges of the garden and just all kinds of stuff. So the hope is all those places that we're walking that on the mulch will break down, and then next year we'll just cover, well, we're going to run the chickens and stuff through there when we're done growing, so that the nitrogen gets replenished, because wood chips, when they break down, take a lot of nitrogen. What are you dancing about? Eldest flannel child. I'm spinning real quick so they see you. My daughter's coming through and, don't you take that stuff, what are you doing? You put it back. I need it in the morning. Okay. She's taking my editing station. Don't forget the charger. That is the charger. Okay. It's dead. Real life. Quite well edited. Why is it dead? Because you use it. Oh my goodness. So, you're gonna sit right there? Now you're distracting. Go away. I banish. So we used Hank and scooped up massive buckets, and so anyways, yes, Jeremy says, what if you compost wood chips and chicken poop together? You can. The problem is that chicken poop doesn't really get absorbed like with deep litter, like straw and such. But at the end of the season, when we run them through there, they will give nitrogen back that the wood chips take when they decompose. The cool thing about the mulch we're getting is it has a boatload of leaves and everything else in it, so it's not just mulch. It's leaves and things that provide nitrogen back to the soil. So then we're going to run the chickens through there and then dump probably 4 inches across the whole area. That way we don't have to till next spring. We should be able to go in there and rake out the places we want to plant and then just direct sow into the garden. So very excited about that. My middle daughter was using Hank to go scoop bucket loads. She learned how to use she knew how the scoop operated, the bucket on the front. But she was learning how to actually, like, the technique to scoop things out of the pile of wood chips. So she would go with the tractor, get wood chips, come back, and then we put them in the wheelbarrow and just truck them into the garden. It was a good day. Lots of sun. It's finally warm. We got over an inch of rain last night. Everything's a mud pit. It was good. So, Jeremy says, we need a redneck short thing. We've already done the redneck water heater. Next to redneck cooking on an engine block. Then redneck skiing with the kids being pulled by Hank. Redneck nitrogen. If we pee on it every night, it's redneck nitrogen. Oh man, I love it. I love it. Oh my goodness. You guys, I am terribly sorry. It's just been a very, very long couple weeks. The weight, I think, of these 2 pigs and the responsibility of being the provider, if you will, for these 2 families is meat, and not just the meat, but the experience. Their kids were here. I mean, they have each family has 4 kids, and they camped Friday night, stayed through Saturday, and they've never done anything like this before. I've only done it twice before, but the responsibility of providing them not just good, clean, healthy food, but I mean, these are memories that last a lifetime. The first time you do something like that, it's a pretty big deal. So, yeah, it was just a lot to kind of shoulder. So yesterday and today have been kind of my stress relief days. So church was obviously good. Took a nap on Sunday, and then today I got a bunch of things done. But they were very enjoyable tasks. And no stress involved. I mean, I got mulch spread in the garden. It's a very simple, very satisfying thing to all of a sudden there's weeds everywhere, and now it's nice and clean and mulched, and knowing you're providing nutrients back into the soil for the next year. There wasn't the stress of once I pull the trigger, I'm on the clock for getting this pig processed before it goes bad. So it was a good day. It's a good day. Looking forward to this week. I'm actually very much looking forward to the pig next weekend, or I guess this weekend. Having done it now, 3 times, and having improved the dispatching process and the sticking process and the scalding process, and getting all those things improved, really helps streamline things. So Jeremy asked if we filled that big freezer yet, and so the answer is yes and no. Currently it's empty. Oh man, I'm gonna make everybody tired who watches this. Should have had a cup of coffee beforehand, but I don't drink coffee after 2, 3. What we've actually been using the freezer for is chilling the meat overnight so that when we butcher it, it's easier to work with. So that's what we've been using it for. Our upright freezer in the house and our upright freezer in the cabin are currently. Karen, hello. She says, hi everyone, I'm in listening mode only tonight. Well, then you'll get to hear me yawn. Sorry about that. So I've been using that to chill the meat down to about 35 degrees or so that butchering is much, much easier. Oh, RGB said that she just realized she's not getting into any of the shorts. I don't know if you can. I don't know. I don't know what the shorts feed looks like. I don't know if you have to click on shorts or not. But RGB, if you go to our channel, I think we have it listed as shorts. Or maybe it's just videos. Yeah. So if you click on our Flannel Farms name, and then you scroll there, like that's our latest full video, but then if you scroll down, those are all the shorts we've released. They're all like 15 seconds long, or less. So that's where they are, in case you were wondering. Like RGB was. Oh man, I lost my train of thought. Next weekend, pig butchering freezer. Got it. So yeah, we use the freezer because it's not cold enough to leave them hanging. If we were butchering them in the winter time, then you could just leave them hanging once you skinned and eviscerated or scalded and eviscerated them. You could leave them just hanging outside, and that's enough to chill them down if it gets below freezing. So okay, Karen, leaving the chat now. She says, bye bye now. Bye bye. Karen's in listening only mode, so if you say hi to Karen, I will tell you. Jeremy asked if there's any cabin progress. There's not. There's been zero cabin progress. I have not built shelves. I haven't done any of those things yet. What ended up happening was I had a couple stump grinding jobs, and then getting ready for these pigs to butcher. Getting cows actually was in there, so we got cows between the roof and now. There's just been putting that fence in the front field, sowing the front field, moving chickens around. I need like 3 more of me. Does anybody have? What was you remember Calvin and Hobbes, and he had that the little device, transmographer or something, but he would make little copies of himself, and they wouldn't do anything either. They're all fighting over who did the homework. What I am going to do this time though, because this weekend it's supposed to be like 80 degrees, 85 degrees. It's going to be really, really warm. So Carolyn says you're way too busy to build shelves in the cabin. It's actually good I didn't, because what I'm going to do when we butcher this pig, because it's going to be so hot, we have a little window unit in the cabin. So the night before, when the pig has been eviscerated and is chilling in the freezer, I'm going to turn that AC on as cold as it will go in the cabin, and hopefully lower the temperature in there to the mid 60s. Which should help us preserve the coldness of the meat for the butchering process. We butchered this weekend actually inside the barn. I pulled, if you saw the short, I pulled the trampoline out of the barn, and it rained like this whole time we were butchering. It was raining off and on. And so what happened was the families actually camped inside the barn. They set up their tents and slept inside the barn, and they broke everything down. We moved all the tables in there, and then we butchered inside the barn. While it was pouring rain. So it was a really good use of space. You guys will see it. I filmed nearly the whole thing. No, we obviously didn't show the stunning and sticking, but we did show the upgraded scalding process, the tank, and then I time-lapsed one pig being butchered, and then I time-lapsed one pig being processed in the house. So I wanted to show with this video, so the last video we did with the pig was kind of like our experience doing it. This one, I wanted you to get an idea of how long it actually takes to do this, and to get the idea and the sense of community. So Sean's back. He said, what do you miss? We talked a bit about the dozer, and we talked about the next pig butchering that we're going to do. It's very important. You should go back and watch every single minute 6 times. So we get lots of views. I think we get paid like $1 per 1,000 views or something. So set your stuff to repeat. Huh? What do you want?
My book in here.
Your book? Which one?
This one.
The Creature from Jekyll Island book that you're reading, Mrs. Flannel Farms?
Yes.
Did you guys know the Fed is bad? Weird. And I don't mean like, I mean like the Federal Reserve is bad. That Federal Reserve is terrible. Apparently, they like to do bad things to poor, honest people. Does that about sum it up?
Making fun of me.
I'm not making fun of you. I'm intelligent. My wife reads socioeconomic books. And, yeah. I tease her. I tease her about it because she reads, so she's reading the book, The Creature from Jekyll Island. I don't know why it's called that, but it is a book about the Federal Reserve and basically why it's evil. It's like this thick. It makes the Bible look like an abridged version. And like within the first chapter, she was furious with the manipulation of currencies and the debt and inflation and all these things and the lack of actual capitalism and the crony socialist crookedness that these people are perpetrating not only on us but on the world. And Ron Paul had it right, so did Rand Paul with Audit the Fed. It's unbelievable the things they're doing. And well, that's true too. Sean says the Federal Reserve is evil because it is run by human beings. But it's also not run by human beings who are doing their best to live for Christ. Well, you just say that. So I joke that she kind of likes suffering, apparently, because she reads it, she gets furious, and there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, there really isn't. We can do our best to vote and those types of things, but as human beings, as the little people in the cog of life, there's nothing you can do about the people in charge, lovey. Now, as a believer, there's always something we can do. We know who is in control of things. We know who sets up princes and who knocks them down. We know who allows institutions like the Fed to exist, and we know that no matter how much earthly power and human power they might have, it is nothing compared to our Heavenly Father's. So we have the ability to pray, and we have the ability to do our best to not get caught up in their systems as best we can. But the reality of it is also that much like Christians had to survive under the Romans or any other type of government institution that was oppressive to them, we have to survive under this institution among others that are suboptimal. But I tease her that she reads the book and gets mad. So like I like to read books that teach me how to do something. Or I like to read like 1960s and 1970s sci-fi books. I think their visions of the future are great, and they didn't have enough techie type things. So like their visions of the future were super cool. So I like old dime store, dollar paperback novel type sci-fi books. But she's reading The Creature from Jekyll Island for fun. I don't get it.
18 years with that lady and I still don't understand her.
Yeah, Jeremy says, I don't read for enjoyment. Why would I read for frustration? Carolyn says, anything having to do with the government is bad. That's one of the many reasons I've been homesteading for over 20 years and want to be more self-sufficient. God is the only one to depend on. Yeah, I agree with that. Government is a necessary evil. But there are many things that are necessary and that are evil. And God has ordained or instituted the government in its fashion. So, yeah, Sean says Christianity has always been an enemy of this state. You got that right, my friend. Homesteading is one of the greatest forms of anarchy, I think you said. I still have that on my fridge. I haven't turned it into a t-shirt yet, but I want to. But even Carolyn, and I know what you mean by when you say self-sufficient, but we are God dependent, right? So even the um, our efforts at self-sufficiency are only by His grace to allow us to do these things, to give us either the desire, the wherewithal, the abilities, the physical strength, whatever, to make our own food, to grow our own food, all those things. So, um, speaking of, I have been praying about the dozer, and that if He does want us to have it, that He would provide it for us in some form or fashion. If it's selling equipment that we have and getting enough money that way, that's one way. If He provides me work that I'm able to do to create those funds with that work, I'm down with that. If it's from, in part you guys, I'm 100% believe it's from Him. So anyway it happens. Carolyn says, you're right, but I ran out of room to write more. And like I said, I know you agree with that. I wasn't meaning to put words in your mouth. I was just expounding that my even our abilities to work come from Him. So, yep. God is good, whether we understand it or not. It's funny, we were in Ecclesiastes in church this week, and it says, what God has made crooked, no man can make straight. And we're reading in Jeremiah, currently in our devotions, about how God was purging Israel and purging the idols and such from them. And I wondered if in my own failings, if I had made institutions into idols, right? We're Americans, hoorah, whatever. But I know we say the Constitution isn't biblical, but when somebody violates the Constitution, we get all bent out of shape. And the Bill of Rights and the Supreme Court and, elections and, why private property can be an idol. I mean, the fact that we have property taxes means there's no such thing as private property. But private property is a cornerstone to a free society, amongst other things. And when those rights get infringed upon, you can't do that. It's against the whatever. And I wonder if in my own life I haven't idolized some of those institutions, or even, the documents that the founding fathers wrote, knowing them as fallible men, knowing them as valuable documents, but putting that much trust in them might be a failing of my own. So I wonder, because there's a part in Ecclesiastes 2, or in Jeremiah, where it said they would be unable to make wise decisions. They could not. The leaders could not make a good decision because wisdom had left them. God had left them. So the only decisions they can make are bad ones. And if God has made our current institutions crooked to purge us from our idols, then there's nothing we can do to make it straight. Now, we don't have Jeremiah walking in the street going, thus says the Lord, don't worry, don't try and make this administration straight because I have made it crooked. So we don't have that benefit. We have the benefit of Scripture and looking back and applying principles to our lives. So we pray for the current government. We pray for our current leaders. We ask God to save them and to grant them wisdom. And we ask that we can live out our lives in peace and seek His kingdom without being under duress as much as possible. But if that's not possible, that we would have the strength and faith to stand in the face of opposition. So I can't depend on the fact that I have pigs in my field to bring me food. I can't depend on the fact that I'm healthy and physically capable and have a tractor that will make things happen, that will work. The only thing we can depend on is the Lord. But I will tell you, having eaten more of my own food that I have literally produced, it does say in Ecclesiastes that you should basically enjoy the fruits of your hand and enjoy the works of your labor and the food that you have made, and sit at your table and eat your food and enjoy your wife, enjoy your family. And that is something to be desired. And I'll tell you, sitting around the table with my family, I mean, so for dinner this evening, I think the only thing that we ate that was not something we produced was the rice. We had pork chops, rice, and a salad. And the salad came from the garden. Oh, excuse me. The pork chops came from our freezer, from the pigs, and the rice came from I don't know where, Walmart probably. But it was very satisfying on a level that is hard to explain. How satisfying it was to just sit down and eat your food that he provided. It's very cool. I missed a few comments, so let me scroll before I miss things. Sean says, I love the Constitution, but it was written by mostly theists rather than legitimate Christians. That's debatable, but I don't really want to debate it because it's still a document that was done by people. So I don't want to make it an idol either way. Whether it was written by the most godliest godly men ever or people that just were religious, I don't want it to be an idol. Carolyn says we can admire the Constitution and Bill of Rights without idolizing them. Correct. But when we are afraid to lose something is when I think it becomes a bit of an idol. Because then we're not trusting the Lord with it. So if your rights are wrapped up in those documents as opposed to being wrapped up in what God grants, it can be a problem. So, yeah, Sean says, boast not yourself of tomorrow. You got that right. Jeremy says, what? You're not growing rice yet? RGB said, it's more than satisfying. It's absolutely amazing. You've done all of this in under 1 year. Wowie. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, it's been a crazy. Let's see. We started in September, so we're near the end of May. So June, July, August. So 9 months we've been at this. So, yeah, Sean says, Nehushtan was made by the actual godliest man in history, Moses, and yet was made into a deplorable idol. I thought Melchizedek might have been the most. And there was wasn't there Enoch who was taken because the world was not worthy of him? Anyways. I know I'm not the godliest man in history. But we are in the sanctification process and he's working on me. So that's what we're working on. So Sean, you said you're going to look at property with your dad? Tell me about that. Like, is that a homestead you guys are going to try and build, make? What's the story? Tell me more, my friend. RGB says 9 months and how many pounds of meat have we produced? So the last pig was about 180. We did 440 this time, so 520, 620. And then we did 14 chickens at 3.5 pounds each. So yeah, 440, 180, 620, 650, 650 pounds of meat, give or take. Yeah, you're right. Sean says, I forgot the verse, but it says, no one ever walked as closely with the Lord as Moses before or after. That's true. Of course, he also talks about Job, and he says there's nobody like Job. But Sean says, so yeah, the goal of the property is to build a homestead. Florida is ridiculous with its regulations on property and the costs. Oh, my word. But I hear you. That's one of the reasons I left. I couldn't make it down there. It's too expensive. It is insane down there. Oh, and of course, with all that meat that we've produced, we still have 2 pigs out there. And the one black pig he's a big boy. I'm betting he's going to be another one that's going to be up there near 240, 250 hanging. And then we have another one out there that's probably more like 240. So probably 200 dressed, maybe 180 dressed, give or take. So about 1,000 pounds. Oh, nice. Sean says, not to mention the property I'm looking at is only an hour away from my best friend. That's super cool. Super cool. Well, speaking of friends, my friends, I have work tomorrow, and in order to drive the roughly 60 miles in, I have to get up fairly early. And then Wednesday, we're leaving straight from work and going down to Virginia Beach because it's in the wrong direction from my house to finish up that job. Thursday, I'm back at work again. And then Friday, we're home and butchering. So I should get at least one video out tomorrow. I'm hoping to have maybe a 3-peat video come out over the next 3 days. It depends on how busy we are at work and how much editing I'm able to get done. But I have the pig scalding video. I have the butchering video, which is with that we filmed that over 2 days. It's going to be a fairly long video. And then we have the garden tour that I should be filming on Wednesday that I hope to get out. So, yeah. I think that's it for this evening, my friends. I do appreciate you joining me. Thank you for being patient with us with last week to this week and all of my yawns. Thank you for being here to celebrate our 3-peat anniversary between being married, starting the business, and the channel was all in the same 3 weeks. Or in the same week last year. It's crazy. I appreciate you all very much. Have a lovely night. Have a good week. God bless you. Sean will be praying about the property for you. Night all. And I'll actually stop live streaming. I won't just